During this presentation, when I talk about leadership, I get into the types of people you work with, as well as the difference between leadership and management, and how you as a leader interact with your people can be governed by what I call the 10 tenets of leadership. And these are simple phrases that are easy to remember, and if you use on a daily basis, they're going to make you a much more effective leader. And they're grouped into two buckets. One bucket is communication, and the other bucket is fundamentals on how you deal and act on a daily basis. So let me give you a couple examples. Under communication, one of them is praise in public, chastise in private. How often have you, as a subordinate, been in a meeting room and the boss walks in and just starts to chew out one of the individuals in the room? It makes you uncomfortable and it makes the boss look bad. And it really does two things. One, it destroys or reduces his credibility. And two, again, he looks bad and your coworker is uncomfortable. So that's one example. Another example is if you listen to sports radio, you hear all the time callers calling in and saying that so-and-so needs to show some leadership and get in somebody's grill and yell and scream at him. Well, that's not exactly the most effective way to do it. There are situations where that works, but typically not on the sporting field or in the business world. So what you have to do is to praise in public. What you do is you praise people that have done good jobs and they become disciples. On the other hand, when you have to chastise somebody, you get them into a private room and you ask them three simple questions. What happened? Why did it happen? And how are you going to prevent it from happening again? This gives the individual a chance to explain what went on. If they start throwing their coworkers under the bus, then you can stop it. And you can then decide what you want to do in terms of whether you want to chew them out or how you want to discipline. But again, praise in public, chastise in private. Another one is don't shoot messengers. As a business leader, you want to know what's going on in the organization and you want people to bring you information. You can call it intelligence. So you want to know what's going on in what I refer to as the bowels of the organization. So people who bring this to you, you don't want to chew them out. And you don't want them to be made to feel uncomfortable. So what you do is you train your subordinates to say, look, bring me information, but when you bring it to me, again, I want to know what's happening, why it's happening, and how we can fix it. Then the two of you can begin to work on a solution and maybe bring other people involved. So here's an example. I was working with a large insurance company in the Hartford, Connecticut area, and we were discussing outsourcing 1,000 different people in the application development and maintenance organization. And the reality was that some of the people were going to get reassigned elsewhere in the organization, and only a few people were going to actually get laid off, most of whom were nearing retirement age and were going to be given very, very good packages. Well, what happened is at about 4 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call from the head of their public relations office, and I was a consultant. And he starts telling me that he's just got off the phone with a writer at the Hartford Courant, and the Courant was about to run a story on 1,000 people going to be run out of town and be outsourced. The story was incorrect, but besides that, I asked him, why were you talking to me? And the answer was he was afraid to talk to his boss, and he was afraid to tell the CFO and the CEO because he was afraid he was going to get fired. So again, don't shoot the messenger, figure out what the problem is, and then get started on a solution. And in the presentation, I go through 10 of these. Again, some are fundamentals of how you work with people, and the others are how you communicate with the people with whom you work.